Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today. How do you track your team's innovation efforts? However that is, we've got an easier way. Let us introduce Playbook. Playbook is Plug and Play's innovation software. It is an exclusive tool only available for our ecosystem's corporate partners. With it, you and your team will be able to browse your curated startups database, create, discover, and rate lists of startups, track your engagement, pilots, and investments, analyze data from the tech ecosystem, organize private sessions with select startups, and so much more. Hundreds of corporations count on Playbook to empower their innovation journey. Get in touch to start using Playbook today.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this year's Munich Summer Summit. This is Laura.
And this is Max.
And we are very happy and excited to have you here with us today. Yesterday, we already heard about the latest health technology trends, and we learned many exciting things from the pilot projects of our partners Novo Nordisk, Biotronic, and Roche.
We are very excited to have you here today and close together this very successful batch.
Laura, what will be your highlight of today?
Well, I guess the People's Choice Award. I'm really looking forward to finding out who rocked it at innovation.
For those of you who are with us here already last time during the Summer Summit, you might already know about our award. We will have one for the People's Choice Award for the startups and one Innovation Corporate Award for the corporates, then obviously as well.
Super exciting. And for you, Max, what is going to be your highlight today?
Yeah, I'm also really excited about the awards, but also looking forward to the startup pitches and also obviously the networking.
Perfect. Let's jump right in there. We are very excited to conclude today with you the 6th Insurtech batch here in Munich. We saw 13 great startups this year who work closely together with our corporate partners, focusing on a wide range of topics that you can see here. From Enterprise 2.0 to chronic disease. Our director, Xenia, will tell you more about it in just a second. Exciting, huh? I think really there is going to be some real innovation here. So let's have a look at what is about to come today. We are going to kick it off by handing it over to our Insurtech director, Xenia, for a warm welcome to all of you. And then I'm very proud to announce our first keynote speaker, Cornelius Vogel from Tractable, our latest unicorn. We will then jump right into the startup pitches with the PNC ones and right after those specific for life and health. Immediately after, we are super excited to introduce you to the news for this edition, our breakout session. They are interactive sessions with great hosts where we are going to discuss about the late super hot topics.
So the second half of today's morning, we will start off with the networking. This is really what this session is all about. You should network, mingle, meet industry peers and all the startups. Afterwards, you hear the startup pitches from the more general part of insurance. Then we have the second breakout room we are hosting today with DataRobot and Quantexa together. Then we have the second part of our startups pitching. And in the end, we will finish off with our award ceremony and some closing remarks.
Perfect. I would like then to hand it over to Dr. Xenia Poppe, our Insurtech director, which will welcome all of you with some opening remarks.
Welcome to Plug and Play's Munich Summer Summit. It's a pleasure to see you today and welcome you virtually to one of the largest innovation events in Europe. Over the course of 2 days, we bring together the most innovative startups and corporations to speak about industry-relevant developments, trends, and the future. Be open-minded, enjoy the insights, the networking, get in contact with others, get in contact with us, and just enjoy Summer Summit Munich Edition. My name is Dr. Xenia Popper, Director of Plug and Play's Insurtech Euro program and your host for today. The insurance part of Munich Summer Summit is at the same time the Expo Day, the culmination of a 3-month accelerator and business development program of 14 Insurtech startups. And when we talk about Insurtech, we really mean any technology that has a potential influence on the insurance industry. Literally any technology. Therefore, our innovation program was focused on various topics: enterprise tech, customer engagement, distribution tech. We talked about risk management solutions, pension tech, or even chronic disease management, as well as plenty of topics at the interface to other industries like mobility, supply chain, or health. You want to see them all? Their use cases, their USPs? Let's make this possible. I invite you to spend the day with us and make meaningful connections to some of the most innovative companies in the world. Because this is what we strive for. Our goal is to help the world progress through innovation and connection. It all began in the so-called Lucky Building, where Google was one of the first tenants of our CEO and founder Saeed Amidi. And at the same time, the very first example to show how the right connections can really help progress the world. Many of these examples followed, and now we can look at a history of success stories where Plug and Play's ecosystem enabled connections to VCs, corporations, and startups. Over the years, Plug and Play became the largest innovation platform in the world and developed an incredible ecosystem of change makers in which we will help with corporate innovation by closing the gaps in the innovation learning cycle, from an innovation strategy over experimentation and execution, as well as analyzing the learnings. We support no matter where along the innovation journey. We do this in different verticals, 3 of them with major presence here in Munich. And innovation happens also across the entire globe. So we do have Plug and Play offices and, more importantly, Insurtech branches in many countries with over 90 insurance partners that are working here with us together. Let me bring the spotlight on the following partners that are working with us on great projects and with our startups here in Munich. Regional players, global players, large and small, some family-owned, some life and health focused, reinsurers. This is a beneficial diversity of partners to share best practices and collaborate on projects to change and improve such a traditional industry like insurance is. And how this change is happening, you will see now. Stay with us until the end to get the most important insights from the startup pitches and to see who will win the Innovation Award today. Super curious for this moment already. Enjoy your day with us, and I'll hand over to the studio so our moderator can share more about the detailed agenda of today.
Perfect. Thank you, Xenia, for the nice welcoming words. So before we jump in, we want to take a second to explain you our Meet Anyway platform. So let's start off with the welcome area. So in the main tab on the top, you can find our insurance event today. Then you'll be able to find the agenda for the next 2 days, a flyer that gives a good overview, and you'll find the event brochure. Just click on and open, and you'll be able to see the entire brochure in a pop-up. With the brochure, you will find the agenda again, opening remarks, and the profiles of the startups. Keep it open or feel free to download it. Under the part, we have some welcoming desks where our colleagues from Plug and Play will be seated and will help you with any questions you might have. On the next tab, we have the main stage. And the main stage tab is where the main event is happening, basically. Join the main stage to watch the stream. That's where we are on at the moment. Underneath, we have the Q&A section. Just click on it, type in your questions you have to the startups. This is also where you need to answer then the People's Choice Award later on. And we will read out the questions throughout the pitches and ask the questions directly to the startups. Underneath that, we will have some more networking table and networking space. Just join one of those tables to start a conversation with the fellows. Don't forget to enable your video and unmute yourself. Next, we have 3 different startup booths of P&C, Life and Health, as well as the general startups. You can find the startups in here. You can also see the contact details and join a booth to the startup. We have also included the startup decks and the pitch decks. You can download them for your own purposes. If the startup is not currently at their table, you are able to schedule a meeting with them by just including your contact details, pressing the meeting slot, and schedule with Calendly. It's really smooth and easy. Or you just join the networking tables. In the end, we also want to show you our search function on the top right-hand corner. A really nice feature, so you can also look for and search for participants. So for instance, if you want to talk to Jessica Cheng, my colleague, then you can just type in her name, click on her profile, and you can jump right to her. You can join her on a free table, or otherwise, if you don't want to join her right away, you can click on her, get more information, and write her a message. Here you can keep also track on all your conversations, because this is also what this whole meeting and session and event is all about: meaningful connections.
And this here is us. Max and I are here with you today, but a big shout out to the whole Insurtech team here in Munich who put together all this. Here are Xenia, who you saw before, Jess, Sebastian, Matteo, Kilian, and Kieran. In case of any question or just in general, always feel free to get in touch with any of them. They are all over the space and all over the event at your disposal. Looking forward to meeting you. They are very nice people, I can really tell you that. And people, I strongly hope today you make some meaningful connections.
Laura, what do you mean with meaningful connections? Is it not enough that our audience just relax, puts up their feet and listen in?
No, Max. The goal today is really to make at least 10 new connections. We know it's hard given the virtual setting, but we started this 1 or 2 summits ago, and we want to keep it also for this year, despite COVID. So people, don't be shy and take advantage of this beautiful opportunity.
Good. Let's see who from the audience can take on this opportunity to get 10 new connections for today. So I know this was a lot of information. Now we can really kickstart things off, and we will start with our first keynote speaker. I'm very happy and honored to introduce you to Cornelius Vogel, Head of DACH and Nordics at Tractable AI, our portfolio company and our 21st unicorn we have at Plug and Play. So I will now hand it over to my colleague Matteo, and I'm really excited about this fireside chat.
Hi, Max. Thanks and welcome, Cornelius. I guess it's great to have you here. I can really.
Hi, Matteo. I'm here.
Yeah. Hi, Cornelius.
Okay, I can see you.
Perfect. I hope you can hear me as well. It's great to have you here. First of all, congratulations, as you have just achieved, I guess, the greatest milestones for a startup, which is the unicorn status. I would love if you could give the audience a brief introduction about yourself and also about Tractable.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, Matteo. Many thanks for the invite. Actually, quite excited about the program today as well. I've just seen it. Sounds very exciting. I'm attending for the third time, actually. So it's a great event. Quick introduction to myself. So I'm heading the business activities for Tractable in the German speaking markets, as well as all the Nordic markets. Actually come from the insurance industry originally. And let me give perhaps a bit of introduction to Tractable, just a bit of background. So I'm sure many people who are listening in today are not yet familiar with us. So just kind of to share some of these thoughts with you. So our vision as Tractable is to be the leading AI company for accident and disaster recovery. And we want to do that by creating AI-first products that positively impact people's lives by making it easier to recover from accidents and disasters. That's all what we are about. What does that actually mean? So right now, we as Scribble focus on motor claims. So imagine when drivers get into an accident, they or their repairers can submit photos of the damage to the insurer, and our AI, Trackbill's AI, analyzes these in real time to accelerate the decisions that otherwise often take several days or so. That's what we are about at this point. So with kind of that in mind, just some facts to us perhaps. So we're 6 years old. We are a bit more than 200 people by now, globally around the world. Our headquarters in London, but operating globally. Just as you said, closed our last funding round. Very proud of that, and we're able to achieve this this unicorn status actually on the basis of our incredible growth, especially over the last 2 years, where kind of we grew over 600% in 2 years only, even accelerating from the years before that. We process in the single millions of claims per year. So what differentiates us in this area is that we are really in the live process of our customers and are actually recognized in this area as the market leader by now.
Thanks, Cornelius. As I said, like, congratulations. It's great to have you, and we're super proud to have you as a portfolio startup. So as the first question, I'd like to ask you, so the fast growth path of an Insurtech company is extremely fascinating for everyone in our audience, and especially for the Insurtech industry. Tractable is one of the greatest examples that we have on our portfolio, as well as worldwide. It would be great to share some light on what you think has been one of the key features of reasons of why Tractable has been able to achieve this growth. And yeah, it's more or less about time to market. It's about scalability within companies. How did you achieve this milestone?
Yeah, I mean, as so often, it's likely various different elements that come into play at different stages of a startup life, and it's not different for us. It's the same for us actually. So looking back at our own growth path at Tractable, I think one thing is important to remember, that we really focus on a technology that is brand new in a sense. So we focus on computer vision technology. So training an AI to make sense of images, in our case, damaged cars. And only by mid-2015 or so, this technology, actually that's when Tractable was founded, started to take off with the help of deep learning, with the help of computing power. And so I say that because we are in an environment here where you actually need to educate the industry and your customers quite a bit about something that is completely new to most of them. And that's a bit of a tricky part. So to come to your question, in the early stages, actually before I joined, getting the first customer was the real key here. So the team focused very, very hard to find and identify an initial use case that can really add value, and to find a partner that is excited about to work with you and wants to engage with you on this. And that's not easy, right? So you need to be very selective in who you work for. And we successfully did that with the UK insurer Ageas in 2016, and that I think was the first big milestone for us to augment this growth path. And on that basis, then with a first customer initial product in place, we really focused on making this a commercial success from the start. And some people might laugh, but so I mean commercial success in a good way, actually. So our claim is it to apply AI to the real world. And what we mean by that is we want to solve actual problems for our customers to create value in their life and in their actual life process, not in the lab. And that's very important, because only by focusing on that, it allows you to become a priority for your customer, actually, and also that they are able to spend resources and budget on for you on it. So we thought hard about this and then managed to find sweet spots in this claims value chain where we focus on. So for example, now we focus on end-to-end estimates, cost calculation for car damages, where the actual value add is very, very high because you actually can completely revamp the customer experience with this. And this kind of was probably kind of the key element to creating this famous flywheel that a lot of people talk about in the industry of having more business with customers on that basis, especially in the AI space, create more data for training, a better trained AI, better products, more recent products, and then on that basis, again, have more customers and business and then take it from there. So that's the key elements. Perhaps as a last one, just kind of for us, what over and over proved to be probably the most important component then is the focus on tech and product. So our focus as a company is 100% on having the most robust AI in the market. And for us, that was actually the way to, at least so far, success and winning in this market, because it helped us in two ways to have this very strong focus on tech and product. The one is you compete on value, not on price, right? Because only if you have a product that can really kind of differentiate yourself in the market, you can, as I said, change the customer experience and have a discussion about value. And the second is you, coming back to your initial remark, you actually can scale very well with your customers. So you are able, by proving that it works, to scale in their own system. And it's much easier to grow your business with an existing customer and growing your business with them than to find new one. People from all over the world will tell you that over and over again. So we did that with Geico, who's the second largest insurer in the US. We did that with Korea, who's the largest insurer in France, Tokyo Marine, the largest insurer in Japan, PZU, the largest insurer in Poland. And that for us was kind of one of the key ways.
As you mentioned at the beginning, I think is one of the key focus here is really sales. And having you here is great also to provide some insights to our startups actually that are trying to achieve these the same milestones. And I'd love to get your point of view in terms of, you know, how long it could be the sales cycle, especially when it comes to the insurance industry. So how many barriers you face so far when it comes to the sales practices, and what has been your experience? Maybe like one of the toughest experience that you had. Yeah, anything that you would like to share with the new startups in ecosystems, but as well as the startups worldwide that want to achieve the same milestone of Tractable.
Yeah, sure, for sure. So it's like sorry to break it to the insurtechs out there, but I guess that doesn't come as a surprise. Obviously, insurance is one of the harder industries to sell tech into, especially when it comes to, like in our case, to AI solutions that are new. So obviously, kind of this has an impact on, as you say, sales cycle, and kind of there are barriers, and there are good reasons for that. And I think in the insurance industry as well. So if you think about it, kind of most insurers have a functional, well-established business model. So they're making money. It's hard to give a reason to change now. There's lots of regulation out there they need to adhere to, and then also perhaps even the most important point is, so the insurance industry is an industry where the customer trust is a very, very important element for insurers, and you can't play around with that. So when working with an insurtech, especially when it comes to your life operations, you need to kind of really be able to trust your insurtech with your in order to kind of trust them with your customers. So to be successful selling to an insurance company, in my opinion, there isn't like the one golden rule, but many things need to come together that all kind of in the sales process that all have to do with trust and overcoming this distrust, as you may say. And you need to address them all. So kind of trust in the solution of your product, obviously at core, but also trust in the company as well as the people behind it, so that kind of that you will be sticking around in 5 years of now. Trust that the business case works, trust in, for example, data privacy, especially important in Germany, all these elements. And there are several ways to address these, obviously. Perhaps for us, some of the ways that were successful from us is like one is that we are very transparent in the way we operate with insurers. So very much right at the start, actually, we asked, so what do we need to have in place for the insurer to make it work for them? Also commercially speaking, to actually sign a contract, because like you need that kind of transparency on both sides to actually invest the required resource and see whether this can work. And then also second one that kind of I think all startups focus a lot on is kind of show it live. So our motto for our solution is, if the AI is not live, it's not real. And we actually show this to our customers, and kind of we ask them to compare us at the front, kind of to have this engagement level. So that's two key areas. And then lastly speaking, perhaps one thing that we use a lot, which helps a lot, is focus really on your customers, but then also use them as reference cases. So it's nothing better than an existing customer kind of engaging with a new customer. And for us, that really builds a lot of trust with these new customers, and even sometimes creates this kind of FOMO, what people talk about. So the fear of missing out in the market. So once you signed the first customer, we saw it over and over again that other customers kind of are getting interested and kind of coming to us and asking for our solutions.
Thanks, Cornelius. I think we already have some questions in the pool. Actually, one of the questions was my last question, which is what comes next for Tractable? And the other one, which is actually super interesting, you've seen huge growth so far. Is this more upselling or entering new markets? And then if you can answer the question of what is going to be next for Tractable, that would be also great.
Sure, yeah. So upsell or new markets, it's obviously both. But coming to my last point, I think upselling is for most, or I think in most business models, especially for startups, the easier way, the far easier way to do. So kind of instead of focusing on 200 different leads at the same time and trying to kind of conquer all markets around the world at the same time with every single market out there, we really think hard that kind of what are the core markets we want to be in, what are the key players, and how can we make it a success for them and scale with them then. And kind of that's what we focus a lot kind of so far on. That's a key component of our success. We're obviously working in 14 markets now with more than 20 of the top insurers now. We're obviously extending this business model at our stage now to engaging also more and more mid-sized insurance players, for example, in the markets, and having a more standardized product that is easier kind of to launch and scale with these. So I think it's about timing, probably, kind of whether you talk about upsell and new sales. When you say what comes next for Tractable, we with this last funding round, we obviously will double down with the latest investment on our core visual intelligence focus for car claims. The opportunity is still very, very large for there, and we're just getting started in this area. On the product side, we also extend this visual expertise to 2 additional areas. So perhaps interesting for startups, we're extending really based on this core focus of visual intelligence that we have. And we apply it actually in 2 areas that we think are of high, like large markets where there's high value of computer vision technology. And the one is what we call inspection. So that's a kind of a visual assessment of a car condition. So for example, for resales or so. And the other one, especially interesting for insurers as well, is the whole property damage assessment area. So for example, assessment of housing. We're already starting with MVPs in several markets now.
That's great, Cornelius. You already anticipated actually one of the questions in the pool, which was actually, are you going to move from the or like enter another market other than the motor ones? So I guess you already answered this question. We are actually almost running out of time. I guess we still have a few minutes for another question. And I guess that what comes to mind right now, especially is also like what has been your growth as well within Tractable, and how important it is to work within such a great company and as a head of growth and as a head of the country and of a specific region here.
Yes, so I think so. My personal stories actually come from the consulting side and worked then a lot kind of as a very established reinsurance company prior to joining. And kind of the key thing here is how is it like working at a startup? It's extremely kind of fast-paced, as everybody says, of course, and also sometimes very challenging. But it's a great experience, in my opinion, given that within a very short time frame, you actually see a company go through single stages of growth where you need to establish also different structures, different organizational elements, and always thinking about kind of what do we actually need to have in place in a year from now, assuming that the business model works and actually going to be a different size of a company back then. So getting these elements right, also then as a head of a country, is key of key importance. So obviously there's a customer focus to it. You need to kind of see what's the right product market fit, but you also need to think about what's the right team you need to have in place for this market. How do you actually kind of get the word out there for your company? What resources do you need from the core engineering and research side, etc., for your specific market needs? How do you prioritize that over other markets? That's all I would say. Key kind of growth areas you work on this role.
That's great, Cornelius, and thanks again for joining us. We are looking forward to meet you in person to all the next events that we will have. And thanks again. I'll hand it over to the studio, to Plug and Play Studio, and yeah, looking forward to see you soon.
Many thanks, Matteo.
Thank you, Matteo. Thank you especially to you, Cornelius. It was great listening to this really interesting Fireside Chat.
Yeah, thank you again, Cornelius and Matteo. That was really great. Now we would love to introduce you to the real protagonist of this latest batch, the startup which took part to our 6 batch program selected by our corporate partners. We had 13 great startups in this program. We had AlphaSense,
Black Swan,
Cachet,
DataRobot,
Iomob,
MoEngage,
My Voice AI,
Planswell,
Quantexa,
RavenPack,
Second Nature,
Vesttoo,
and Zelros, who will tell us about more about their solution in just a second. It was a pretty international batch this year. As you can see from the map, they came from all over the world, from 9 different countries. Max, can you tell me and our audience a bit more of what happened during this 6 batch?
Well, of course. So our 13 startups received more than 100 mentor sessions with industry experts and VCs who guided our startups towards a faster success. They took part in 3 workshops where they learned best practices on a number of aspects. They were invited to 3 great events, one about life savings and pension, a roundtable with our partner DB Schenker, and one about sustainability. I'm proud to say that we had more than 350 overall participants to our program. And that means many leads, many contacts, many opportunities, and also pilots between the startups and our corporate partner.
Thank you a lot, Max. So perfect. Here we are at the moment we were all waiting for. I think the best way to really understand how these startups want to change the industry landscape is just really listening to their stories, the problems they are tackling, and how they want to solve them. I would love hence to start with the startup pitches with the first group of startups, those related to property and casualty. I will hand it over to Hedy from Cachet. Cachet is our insurance for gig workers and freelancers. Just a little reminder for you, you can always open the Q&A session on the left side and there are no stupid questions. Heidi, the floor is yours.
So I hope you all can see also my presentation.
Yes,
my name is Heidi. I'm CEO, co-founder of Cachet, and we are building a human-centric marketplace for platform economy service providers. And by that, we are enabling the platform economy lifestyle. This is our team. We are 15 people altogether, plus some great advisors. And we are today live in 3 markets, and we were founded in 2018. Sorry. So what problem are we solving? The number of people working for platform economy is growing rapidly. Today, there are around 1 in 10 person, or even more than 1 in 10 person in Europe that has provided services through online platform. And the number is growing rapidly fast, accelerated by COVID and many other things. In a couple of years' time, we will see more and more diverse teams in the corporations where full-time, part-time, and also gig workers are actually part of one diverse team. So in a way, what we can say, Uber drivers today are paving the way for the way most of us will start to work in the future. And why we are fairly confident that this happened, because most of the people that work flexibly are very happy about it because they enjoy the freedom and enjoy the flexibility that comes with it. So, but financial services are broken for platform economy. Why an Uber driver who only drives 5 hours a week has to pay for full taxi insurance? I don't think anyone has thought about that deeply more than some of the startups here, including us. The reason is because today the data works for the platforms and not for the gig workers. So gig workers multi-app, there is 75% of the drivers that have been in our portfolio that work on multiple different platforms at the same time. So it's not only in ride-hailing case Uber driver, but it's actually driver that works on multiple different platforms at the same time. So which means that the data is spread, and to really understand how and where and when and the quantities this person provides service, this data needs to be brought together. And this is one of the key things. So if you insure only one platform, then actually you get just a fraction of how they work and the risk that comes with it. So what then Cachet does? Cachet has built a solution where we have integrated ourselves with the leading gig platforms in Europe. We have partnership with firstly mainly in ride hailing, but obviously we are scaling to other verticals now as well. And via that we have built a way of working and actually bringing together the risks fully, so we know how many hours actually one person works on what platform and on other. And what we have learned with our journey so far is that insurance needs to follow the gig worker, not just platform, because via that we can create the accountability that is really needed to bring the risks down for the person. For insurance companies that we work with, we help to have a very much different insight into the risks that come with a platform work. And with today, many are working with embedded solutions. We have all seen that there is a duplication of risk coming along. Our solution helps to prevent those as well. So as you can see, we have built it the way that we co-design the products together with insurance companies, and we bring our data model together, what we can merge with the existing insurance model. So this is a solution we have live today on 3 markets in Europe. So our pilot in ride hailing, it has proven to work well. These are our partners. We have the solution live in Estonia, Poland, and Latvia. And basically it works, we sell both B2B and B2C, and this one is the B2C version where we can see the person coming into the app. Often they get the adverts from our partners. And then we get the connections with them, how much they try, where they try, and so on. And this is the kind of cycle starts where we are sharing the data also with the insurance companies who are then underwriting the final policy. And we can proudly say that concluding now 1.5 years, we have excellent customer feedback. customers love us. Our NPS has been stably over 62%. Our CSAT is to the roofs, and basically with that time and our first market, we have won more than 40% of all the taxi drivers and 87% of all the part-time ride-hailing drivers in Estonia. We have just at the end of the year acquired EU broker license, and we are working together with very significant names already. And our goal is to scale and grow to many new markets. And obviously for that, we are open to market partnership with new insurance companies as well. Just a small taste of how we look. This is very simple way of how we onboard the customer. And yeah, this is Cachet. Happy to have a chat.
Thank you very much, Heidi. That was great. So we have some question from the audience. AI assessment is quite popular. How do you differentiate from other players in the market?
AI assessment. So how we differentiate? We get the data directly from our partner platforms. So we don't just guess it out there. We get the actual numbers, how many hours, minutes, kilometers they are on Uber, on Bolt, on Yandex Taxi, and so on. So that's probably one of the things. We don't just guess with AI. We actually get the data directly in, and we have built our own learnings from there.
Thank you. Then another question, which is quite related, is how flexible are the products you offer? So for example, can a driver that usually does 5 hours a week do 15 hours a week for 1 month without difficulties?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that's obviously where the regulation often comes in many markets. So, but we have built the solutions in the markets where we enter, and it's not like minute-based but monthly. Yes, there is a flexibility that we have built in, but happy to dig deeper if someone has interest.
Perfect, thanks. And any information about your international expansion?
Yes, so Europe is going to be our focus. We are today working both towards the Nordic and towards CE, but are happy to start to talk about the kind of central and more Western European countries as well.
Thank you again. Thank you, Eddie. That was great. So we can go on. Thank you.
Perfect. So next up is Boyd with the startup Iomob. And Iomob is aiming to creating the largest mobility on-demand marketplace.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. We've been involved with Plug and Play a few times now, and it's a great organization. And I think many of us in the startup world have realized that programs like this that focus more on making connections with corporates for accelerating commercial opportunities are way more exciting than actually focusing on prepping for investment. Iomob, as they said, is about connecting the journey, seamless multimodal. There's 4 converging trends that create challenges and opportunities for our enterprise customers, including in the insurance industry. Probably none of these are a surprise to you, but I summarize them in these 4 ways. Obviously, we continue to see global growth in the inventory of vehicles on the roads. We're well over 1 billion. Yet we're seeing a rapid acceleration of mindset shift from ownership to access of mobility services. Similarly, we're seeing a rapid growth in interest from policymakers, individuals, and others to move away from less sustainable lifestyles and patterns and impact on climate, and encourage modal shift to things that are more sustainable. And that's being powered by and supported by an explosion in new forms of mobility services, shared mobility, whether that's peer-to-peer car sharing, which all of you in the insurance industry are well aware of, or whether that's small micro-mobility fleets. So what Iomob does is we offer a seamless multimodal mobility platform. We offer it for enterprise. So we're a middleware. We allow your users to discover, route, book, and pay for a range of mobility services that we integrate, whether they be taxis or scooters or transit services, in a seamless user experience with your own brand. This is maybe a better visual that explains what we do. Is we create a marketplace. We integrate large regional and global mobility services over time, some of the smaller ones too. We work with demand partners who have end users, whether that be an insurance company, an energy company, a rail operator who wants to offer multimodal seamless mobility to their users. And we provide that seamless experience for them. This is sort of a different kind of visual around sort of the kind of coverage map we already have across Europe with transit services, taxi scooters, and everything else. And over on the left, you're seeing one of our early commercial deployments, which is being released this year with London Northeastern Rail, will be the largest multimodal deployment in all of Europe, so that users of a rail service will no longer just be able to book their rail ticket through their own app, London Northeastern Rail, but also discover, route, book, and pay for first and last mile services. Now, you might be wondering exactly how does this relate to insurance? And of course, this accelerator has helped us understand even more the use cases that insurance companies are interested in. And we will be hosting a roundtable after to dive deeper into these. The obvious one that insurance companies are interested in is how can we, if people don't own cars as much as they used to, especially the younger generation, how can we reach them? And one way is, instead of insuring a car, you insure the person, and that person could be using a range of multimodal mobility services in the city they live in, or when they're traveling to a new market. Similarly, this idea around a mobility wallet is getting traction with us with insurance companies. The idea there is, instead of the sort of 20th century approach to handling roadside assistance and car replacement, which is call a taxi for the roadside and whatever car is available at the mechanic is what they get, offering more individualization, personalization, so you can offer a budget in a digital mobility wallet to an insured user, and they can choose whatever mobility service they want to pay for. And if they want to pay more for a Tesla for the 3-day replacement, then you just subsidize what your budget allows for, and they pay the rest in the platform. And finally, this idea around deploying your own full seamless multimodal experience, either for your end user customers, new ones and existing ones, or your corporates who want to improve the sustainable, seamless mobility of their employees, and then, of course, to insure them. And one last point on that, we've heard from other insurance companies, a lot of interest in the data that can be obtained by having better understanding of how people move around cities and what vehicles they use and how they combine them. Just more on the business side, we're growing pretty fast. We're in the 20-something people right now. We anticipate before the end of the year hitting our 1 million annual recurring revenue targets. 3 PhD co-founders and deep expertise in smart mobility, smart cities. Here are some of our clients, and we've been in Techstars and Plug and Play a few times now. And we're closing a bridge round this month, and then we'll be doing a Series A in early next year. Thank you.
That was a great pitch, Boyd. Thank you so much, actually, for taking the time being here with us today. We have some questions from the audience, but before I read out those, I have actually a question myself. So at the moment, the majority of your clients are not within the insurance space. And in Germany specifically, we have basically cars and vehicles insured instead of the people. And you said basically that you wanted to go in the market and insure the people basically instead of the cars. So how are you planning to actually enter the German market when by law, I think the cars need to be insured instead of the people?
So we haven't proactively looked at the German market yet for this particular use case you're referring to regarding insuring people, not vehicles. I think, one important thing to think about is that increasingly cars are only a potential element in a multimodal journey. And in many cases, they won't even be taking a car. So, urban people are often taking a scooter to a train. But if they don't have any insurance whatsoever, maybe having some access to that insurance for their scooter experience is useful, even more when they travel. So Iomob is not planning to offer an insurance product. What we expect to do, because Iomob is an agnostic platform that seamlessly integrates services that relate to people traveling by ground, we don't just integrate vehicles, we integrate EV charging networks. We integrate tolling. So these are not just vehicles, but they're services. So our thinking based on engaging with your corporate partners is that there's interest from the insurance company to be able to offer these kind of individualized insurance services to people in our platform.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So definitely our corporate partners should reach out to you, should network. Maybe one last question from the audience as well. You were talking about you will hit the 1 million recurring revenue by the end of this year. Can you tell us a little bit more about your revenue model?
So we have two sort of core revenue models. One is a licensing revenue for enterprise customers who want to access our marketplace of mobility services and deploy them inside their own apps or other interfaces. And then we also generate revenue from commissions from the private mobility services that are booked in our platform. That's often shared with our customers depending on what they want. The other type of revenue model is when we have a corporate employee-based model. What we've discovered in that market is those companies like corporates, for solving their own employee mobility, they don't really want to pay a licensing fee up front, but they're more than happy to pay variable revenues. So per employee per month fee, say 2 to 3 euros. And then Iomob also can generate an over the top fee for every journey booked.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, then thank you so much for being here with us today. That was Boyd with Iomob. And now I will hand it back over to Laura.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Boyd. So next up is Yaniv with Vesttoo. Vesttoo is alternative reinsurance for life and non-life insurance market and our portfolio company. Yaniv, you can share your screen.
Hi, everybody. My name is Yaniv Bertele. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Vesttoo. Just let me start just a second. I'll share my pitch. Great. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Vesttoo. Vesttoo is an Israeli company that was established 3 years ago, operating from Tel Aviv. Vesttoo essentially operates as a platform for risk transfer from the insurance space to the capital markets. We create a complementary alternative to traditional reinsurance. The general idea is significant low capacity of the traditional reinsurance versus the total liabilities that are retained on the balance sheets of insurers, essentially creating a funding gap between the total liabilities retained on the balance sheets of the insurers versus the total liabilities that could be covered by the traditional reinsurance industry. Those two industries, the capital markets and insurance industries, have been trying to transact before, eventually currently only focusing on cat risks. Vesttoo leverages proprietary artificial intelligence technology that can enable an objective and accurate risk modeling of where the risk will be developing over time, essentially enabling us to create a very accurate projection of where a specific risk in a specific portfolio will be developing. But instead of selling the technology, we use this understanding in order to transact and transfer the risk to the capital markets, embedding the risk into a financial instrument. The technology that we use internally was proprietary developed that creates a very sophisticated yet accurate objective model that is fed by the raw data that we are presented by the insurer. We create an aggregated understanding of where the risk will be developing on a per policy bottom-up approach, which creates a very robust understanding of where the risk will be developing and essentially brings us the understanding of where the risk will be developing long into the tail of the risk. The solution in itself is a very flexible alternative that starts from working with the cedent and understanding where they want us to protect and what, and obviously enables us a very quick time to market in presenting the insurer with an alternative to traditional reinsurance. The capital markets motivation is to start with an uncorrelated investment opportunity that doesn't attach when the markets tumble. It's a very stable and fixed interest income that has a very good attractive risk reward. We call it BB spreads over AA uncorrelated risk, which essentially definitely in those times of market stumbling post-COVID-19, low interest rates provides a very essential alternative to diversify the portfolio and enables us to bring in long-term deals that create an increased market capacity. The capital that we bring along comes from pension schemes, asset managers, private equity firms, hedge funds, banks that essentially participate in the program. Where allocating their securities as collateral for our deals, we can securitize those deals that we bring on board and generate excess spreads over those security yields. So on one end, we enable the insurer a hedge over the risk, transferring those liabilities to the capital markets, whereby the capital markets can now tap into those risks without any cash pledged, but just security pledged. We lower the probability of tail risk by aggregating several transactions, collecting those into an insurance-linked program. We utilize a business model where we do not sell the technology, we rather transact. So transferring the risk from one end to the other presents us with two revenue streams. One is the placement fees, and then a share of the premium that is paid from the insurer to the capital market player. The outline of the company is to gradually develop the program into a marketplace where the platform operates as a place where those two markets could transact. On one end, we bring on board a cedent, the insurer, that gets, when a deal is placed, a dashboard showing where the risk will be developing over time. And on the other hand, an investor can come on board and bid on specific opportunities. The company started transacting last year, transferring already several hundreds of millions of dollars to the capital markets. Risks could be commercial trucking, cyber risk, lapse risk in the P&C domain, and in the life domain, mortality and longevity. Several millions of dollars revenues booked in 2020, and unlocking a significant capacity beyond $1.5 billion capacity transferred in 2021. That's the goal. That's about us. Excited about the program. Plug and Play has been tremendously helpful in putting us in front of capital markets and insurance players, both brokers and reinsurers. So tremendously happy and excited to be part of a program. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to take part in this summit.
Thank you, Yaniv. Thank you again. We have a couple of questions coming from the audience. They're asking, are the reinsurer actually worried about this intermediation?
Yeah, so we are extremely humbled and excited about the fact that we could be regarded as competitors. However, frankly, we collaborate rather than compete. Some of our customers are actually reinsurers where they seek to transfer the risk off their balance sheets to the capital markets. So essentially, we complement traditional reinsurance by working with the brokers, the Guy Carpenters, the Aons, the Willis Towers Watsons, and providing us with opportunities to structure deals and place them with the capital markets, whereby the reinsurers themselves focus on the low, high-risk layers, which are called quota share deals. And Vesttoo usually transact on the layers above. So there's a good collaboration both with the reinsurance brokers and with the reinsurers as partners, but also as customers.
Thank you. One last question from our side. Do you have any statistical data or studies that support your risk modeling approach?
Sure. So the statistical validation of our capabilities comes from two ends. One is backtesting, being able to prove the fact that the future modeling that we've done is accurate enough so we can work our way backwards, but also simulate a transaction that was structured a couple of years ago and show that we are in the same line as where the risk is today. The second is external validation. So we've been audited and reviewed by S&P, EY, KPMG, PwC from their actuarial perspective, showing the accuracy associated with our projections.
Thank you again. This was Yanni with Vesttoo. Thank you again to the startup. And for our audience, remember, you can always join the startup booth where you can download the brochure and hope on a call in the upcoming weeks. So thank you to the three PNC startups, which allow us to wrap up the topic and move on to the life and health. Max, are you excited?
Very excited about life and health. I think it's my most favorite part about insurance, actually. And we will kick things off with a pre-recording from Eric and Planswell, and with the mission of supporting you in your financial planning and well-being.
I was at a meeting with a longtime investor yesterday, and we sat down, and the first thing he said is, I don't understand how you do it. Like, what's the black box? How do you get hundreds of thousands of people to build financial plans without even talking to them? And what's to stop everybody else from doing the same thing? And I told him it was a pretty inefficient path to getting here. And I don't think anyone else is going to do it quite the same way. I talked to him about selling electronics from Best Buy returns and big box stores on eBay and PayPal when it first came out. I talked about the window cleaning company that I ran, where I learned high frequency sales and 95% close rates. I talked about the tea company that I built, that I sold after selling thousands and thousands of cast iron teapots to people for holiday parties, and just learning how to build rapid rapport and trust. Talked about our first digital marketing play, where we built an independent music subscription service for artists around the world, or the hypnosis weight loss company that we built after I met a hypnotist on a cruise ship that got shut down because the Visa and MasterCard banned rebills on weight loss that year due to some colon cleanse pills not working out, not related to our company. We had Curate Search, was a socially curated search engine where people uploaded tens of thousands of pieces of content the first few months, and then they started uploading porn, and couldn't get it off the site fast enough, so Google took us out of the search results. We built an app for getting challenges out there to do push-ups with your friends. Never launched it, but thought a lot about it. We'll revisit that one day. Didn't like the design. We had the idea that people would eat dinner in people's kitchens, that's like strangers, and pay for it. That was a terrible idea. So we pivoted and did private lessons instead, where thousands of people around the world started teaching private lessons. I learned how to cook faster. I learned astrology from a hairdresser in a coffee shop. The margins weren't very good on it, and it wasn't a repeat customer base, so that didn't work out. Around that time, Groupon took off, and I started doing marketing for them. I had learned so much from the different companies that we had done that I was able to start onboarding tens of thousands of people a day across multiple languages in Brazil, and also like UK, helping them expand. Helped all of these companies actually run the exact same ad campaigns against each other. And it was the peak of my earnings career. It was a lot of fun. As that dried up, I started flipping houses and having kids. I really always kind of loved the stock market, was really playing with my investments, and thought, maybe I'll become a high net worth investment advisor. So that's what I did. I joined CIBC Wood Gundy, and I got there and I was shocked. They said no to every single idea I brought to the table, but they hired me anyways. Said I can't even have a LinkedIn profile. My job is get a few hundred clients over the course of my life, and it's it'll be a good career. So I spent 2 years at it, learning how to build telemarketing firms in the Philippines, invite people to seminars, steak dinners, and eventually decided that that's just it's not going to scale the way that I wanted to, working at the bank. So I left. I wrote a children's book about personal finance, didn't publish it, helped a friend start an energy audit company, and I sat beside him for a whole year where he made $5 million. I did okay, but was really focused on this new idea. I just had my second kid, and I couldn't shake the idea, like, what if we could get people to give us all of their information over the internet, all their most personal financial details, to build an entire financial plan and actually deliver that plan in real time. It's like, well, that would be the best thing ever, but nobody's going to do it. So nice fantasy. Almost everyone experiences a lifestyle decline in the future. And it's because financial planning has been restricted to just rich people, because it's a lot of work, and most people don't even know that they need it, let alone want it. Which makes it pretty tough to acquire new clients. And that's the code that we cracked. In 2018 and 19, we built over 200,000 financial plans in Canada, mostly not actually at trade shows from digital marketing, but these were kind of fun experiments that we did. We built a 55-person team, raised over $17 million, built actually 200,000 plans, tested it out in 18 countries, and we were getting to expand under this new model of partnering with big financial institutions and advisors in local countries instead of doing it all ourselves, the B2C track. We didn't want to build brokerages in every regulatory regime. That's not our strongest suit. Our strong suit is getting people to build plans. And so it was amazing. The press was picking it up, all sorts of great things being said about us, 150 5-star reviews in a row on Google. everything was awesome until it wasn't. And 2 weeks before closing on a $22 million round, an anonymous blog post detailed an inappropriate relationship from 2018 between two former employees that had left the company at least 9 months before that. We had done an investigation and made sure that they were gone and thought that we had dealt with it quite well. But in that 2 weeks, it wasn't enough time, and we didn't have enough money to get through the rest of the financing. The investors got cold feet, and that was it. It was the most traumatic experience of my life, transferring out all the clients to other competitors and helping employees get jobs elsewhere. That was the picture I took on my way out of the office on the last day in 2019. I got the sign, but yeah, out of terrible situations come opportunities sometimes. And I learned that in a bankruptcy auction, you can go in, anybody can buy assets, and there was 5 other companies trying to buy the software or the client list and the 200,000 plans. We went in, we paid 3 times more than we need to, bought the technology, the brand and everything, and started a new company. So we launched 4 months after that in Canada, April 2020. Just 3 of us selling directly to advisors with a new business model. We had never generated $1 from an advisor before. And it just took off by September, $200,000 a month, 30 people, cash flow positive, launched in the US in October. And the US now accounts for 2/3 of our business. Built this amazing team, getting ready to expand internationally and looking for financial institutions and groups of advisors that we can work with to make that happen. Basically, we built a $100 million company in 1 year. Which makes us an overnight success. So I'm very much looking forward to explaining a little bit more about what we do. Hopefully we can meet up. I could talk about the world's best remote financial planning experience that an advisor can have with their client, how we funnel brand new opportunities to them in real time using our proprietary software and system, how we teach them using our knowledge from doing it 200,000 times, how to close and build their business, and as well as the PlanCraft, our new executive coaching groups that we set up with advisors that they're absolutely loving. So looking forward to chatting. Please reach out, eric@planswell.com, and thanks so much for your time.
Thanks so much to Planswell. Thanks, Eric, for this really interesting and inspiring pitch. For everybody who just missed the contact details, stop by the startup booth. They can have all the information again. Unfortunately, we don't have a Q&A for this pitch. Don't forget now to use the Q&A for the next pitch. And next up is...
Perfect. Now we're having Second Nature with Mark. Second Nature is the startup which will revolutionize your health habits for good. Mark, the floor is yours. You can share your screen.
Thanks, guys. I'll kick off. So yeah, hi, everyone. I'm Mark Davis, and we're Second Nature. So we're experts in sustainable digital lifestyle change. So quite a bit different from some of the other innovations you've seen today. So hopefully we can spice some things up. So essentially, we're on a mission to use the science of habit change to make healthy living second nature. It's a really difficult mission. And to date, we've helped over 40,000 individuals change their lives. And excitingly, if anyone was around at the beginning of the accelerator program, and since we last presented, we've now officially launched in the US, and we're really excited to be launching in a lot of new markets very, very quickly. So let's first just address the 2 key problem areas that we're trying to solve. So an issue you've got is that retaining healthy customers is a challenge because you don't have frequent opportunities to positively engage with them. And then on the flip side, your customers living with obesity represent a really large cost burden and risk burden for a range of long-term conditions. I don't know if you already knew, but just over 50% of the European population is overweight. So they do actually constitute a massive proportion of your user base, and they have a huge risk burden without really realizing that they're even there. So in order to address these challenges, we provide sustained engagement with your customers to build your customer retention. We provide proven health outcomes that actually impact claims and provide a return on investment. And then also the ability to enrich your understanding of your users with valuable biometric health data that we can provide to you. So before we jump into the value that we provide, let's first just have a look at the core components of our product. You can summarize Second Nature into 3 distinct elements to achieve sustained behavior change. We have track, support, and learn. So let's just have a look at track first. So users are able to track their weight, steps, sleep, and habits in real time. And they utilize our connected tracking technology. So they're able to track their progress on a daily basis, and it builds really strong positive reinforcement cycles that motivates them to actually stick to the changes they've made. That's a really critical part of the program. The personalization and sustainability of our program is made possible with the one-to-one support that every user receives from a qualified health coach. It's really, really difficult to provide real person health coaching in a program like this. So we've been able to develop a model where we can do this at scale at an affordable price that actually means that you can make a return on investment. So our coaching model is actually unique. We provide the continuous support. So it's not sessional. People don't have to book an appointment or anything like that. And our health coaches transform the lives of our users on a daily basis, improving their physical, mental, and social well-being every single day. And then the learn element of our program is effectively the educational backbone. So it's where everyone learns all the theory, and users have access to daily educational articles, a huge recipe library for a load of different cuisines and cultures, exercise videos for all abilities, and other features to become well-being experts themselves for the long term. So I mentioned 3 core components, but there's actually a secret sauce that enables us to be able to create really, really long-term outcomes. And it's called Sustain. This is where people graduate to after the initial 12 weeks. It's entirely focused on embedding the changes that an individual has made, providing them with additional content and further support. So this is all about the long-term outcomes that they've been able to kind of achieve in the very short term. So what's the actual value of our program to you as insurers? So firstly, oops, I've just skipped ahead. Firstly, our ability to engage with users is market leading. So 43% of users are still using our service at 3 years, which is absolutely massive compared to our competitors. The real reason behind that is that we've achieved human connections with these people. Our health coaches are extremely adept in being able to build relationships with these people over the long term. Secondly, we have market leading long-term weight loss outcomes. So that's 6% over 2 years. And typically people achieve this weight loss after about two weeks. So it's achieved at 2 weeks, maintained for 2 years. So it's an incredibly massive achievement. And then lastly, the data we're able to provide to you can enrich your understanding of your users. So we provide advanced kind of biometric data. And like it says there on the slide, we can improve your marketing capability, underwriting accuracy, and also help with your churn models. So a use case. So we come to the table with experience. So in 16 months, we went from scoping conversations to a pilot to a full health partnership with Vitality in the UK. And the pilot results were amazing. So I'm not sure what the audience knows about type 2 diabetes, but we were able to achieve, 35% of the cohort are actually no longer living with type 2 diabetes. So it's often perceived as a lifelong chronic condition, but the reality is that it is reversible, and we can help make that happen. So just to close, we're looking for our first partner to make healthy living second nature for the people of mainland Europe. We're active across the UK and Western Europe, so that's a huge milestone for us. It goes without saying that we'd love to partner with each and every one of you. Yeah, really looking forward to chatting to some of you today and hopping on some video calls. Thanks very much, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you a lot, Mark. That was great. So we have some questions coming from the audience. They ask whether your program is available in other languages apart from English.
Yeah, so our core delivery is in English for our health coaches. And what we often do is in pilot projects with different nationalities, different languages, is we can build that into the project as and when. So yeah, it would just be a case of hiring health coaches within that language and just adapting the program to that. So not a problem, but at the moment it's only available in English.
Okay, thank you. And what would be the next stage for further innovation of your product offering?
Yeah, great question. So it would typically be moving into different verticals related to health. So at the moment, it's very focused on weight, obesity, diabetes, etc. So I think in the future, what we're going to focus on is being able to provide a much more kind of a wider perspective of health. So it'll be things like musculoskeletal problems. It'll be things like addiction, smoking, alcohol addiction, and things like that. So moving into a much wider health perspective, because ultimately the core value of our product is being able to change people's behaviors. So that can apply to so many different things. So yeah, it's a really rich environment out there. So that's an exciting feature for us.
Thank you again, Mark. This was Mark with Second Nature. And with that being said, we can wrap it up with life and health. And after these amazing startup pitches, thank you again, all of you. We are very excited to invite you all for our breakout session with two special hosts. In the first one will be hosted by Iomob, and we will be discussing about the emergence of mobility as a service. What is going on there? Are they gonna succeed and disrupt the insurance industry? In the second breakout table, Fuel and Score will be discussing about another super hot topic, this time around life and health. We are now collecting more and more biometric data, but how are we actually gonna use it? How we can correctly develop the new risk model with this data, and how can we best deal with all the data concern around it? So any interest topic you might have, we have you covered. And here we're gonna talk and discuss about the future trends, and we really wanna hear your voice, which are your thoughts and your doubts on the topic. So don't be shy and join one of the two rooms. But Max, how can actually our audience join one of the breakout sessions?
So the audience was supposed to pre-register for this breakout room.
What? So it means they can't join?
No. We were just joking, of course. So you can have now the opportunity. On the top, you find a button that says breakout session. Just click on it. You take the room you're most interested in and join a session. But be quick. We have only limited slots available, and we want you to participate actively in the discussion. So whoever who is interested in a breakout session, please join now. Everyone else who does not want to join one of those sessions can stay on the line. And we will now continue with our amazing Olivia, who's preparing for us our Summer Summit, the Scribbling today. Thank you, Olivia. I would like to invite you to share your screen, and everybody else, please go to your breakout session table now, and don't forget the 10 new connections you want to make by the end of today. Welcome back, everybody. We hope that you guys had a really good breakout session, that you had a really nice break, that you networked and mingled also during the break, and that you refreshed yourself and got a new coffee. So we already went today through the P&C section as well as the life and health section, and now we want to focus more on the general part of insurance startups. So don't forget to use the Q&A section so that you can ask all the startups all your questions you might have. Due to unforeseen events, we unfortunately need to skip Black Swan with Gregor, and we will continue now with DataRobot right away.
Yes, then I would love to invite Daniel from DataRobot. DataRobot is our no-code AI builder. Daniel, can you please share your screen?
So a quick pitch about DataRobot. So my name is Daniel Latke, and I'm part of the Central European team, mainly responsible for building the partner ecosystem. Just a few words about DataRobot. So DataRobot was founded back in 2012. And if you look on the right side, then we actually started the business actually just in 2015, which you see there's a gap of 3 years. So what we have done in these 3 years is we invested about 20 million in building the first platform, which is called AutoML, or automatic machine learning. Today, we've got about 1,000 plus brands using DataRobot across the world. So what does that mean actually for you is that what I like to explain on the next slide when we talk about the platform itself. So when we talk about machine learning, or as we say, no code UI and building models, we love to distinguish between 3 main pillars. So the one side is what you see on the left side is what we call machine learning development, or ML dev. Then in the center, we've got machine learning operations, ML ops, also called, and on the right side, of course, the ML consumption. That means basically how to reuse the output of the models within your applications, your favorite tools, which could be BI or anything else like an ERP system. Now, what we see as challenges here is actually a couple of issues. So on the one side, we've got on the ML development side, of course, all the coders that love to use their IDE. So that's what you see on the top left side. And we actually also love the coders because they're building beautiful models. But the downside is typically what I hear from the market is when I talk to data scientists, it takes them 6 to 9 months to build a model from the initial design stage into a production environment. So this is a long time. Given the fact that if you talk to customers that are on their journey to building AI-driven companies, they usually say we love to see something like 200 plus models in our environment. And if you then do the math and say, okay, if a data scientist takes 9 months to build it, that would take a huge amount of time to building these environments. So that's where basically DataRobot stepped in and said, okay, we need to find a better way in building those models in a much faster environment and basically scale it out. So that's what you see on the bottom left there is we basically offer today a possibility to handle data preparation. So that means getting your data ready before it will be sent to the modeling. And then we can trigger off automatic machine learning. And that means basically a huge advantage for all users within an organization. And if I say all users, what I mean by that is we talk about democratization. That means we now involve all kinds of talents that you have inside of a company that can start to build models in a fast way. And fast means really automatically, in the sense that we trigger off directly between 20, 30, or even 50 models that we test and validate which one of them is the best one for the given challenge or for the given problem in your business. What we also do is we execute multiple feature engineerings automatically in the background. And we also do hyperparameter scaling or basically tuning with it. And all of that, what we use is guardrails. That means make sure that we really keep everything safe under control. But at the end, when you have your models built either on your own way, using your ID environment, or you use the automatic feature of DataRobot, you still need to put that into production. And what we have seen from some studies together with big partners is that 85% of the models never make it to production. And this is actually scary. So for this purpose, we have developed a very stable machine learning operations platform or MLOps environment, which helps you to incorporate the models that you have built your own or the ones that have been built using AutoML by DataRobot and put that into the production environment with all the nice features for monitoring, checking if the model is still behaving the right way, if you have bias information in it, you know, that things don't behave the right right way. If you have model or data drifting functionalities, you can check how many calls you have, but also very important is you also get explainability. That means understand how a model really behaves and why it has made certain decisions. This is very crucial when you think about governance and audit, or when you try just to explain a story to your C-level, why the model has made certain decisions, so you can really dig into the details and explain it step by step. The beauty of it is all the models can be distributed over a landscape, which could be today on-premise, in the cloud, or in hybrid environment. And this is basically nice because what we see with organizations, especially also in the insurance environment, is all of these things run on multiple clouds on-premise. So all the things need to be handled in a safe way. Last but not least, when you look at the consumption side, of course, we know that the users love their tools they have. So what we see is a lot of self-service analytics environments, like Tableau, Click, or Power BI. And basically, we see a lot of applications are building the way that they integrate inside of those tools the output of the machine learning models. And this could be as a batch or real-time scoring in order to have all the predictions that they need in order to make better decisions. And the last but not least important point, what I see on the bottom right are what we call AI applications, which is a nice way of bundling predefined solutions that can be quickly incorporated into existing environments like ERP systems. And this is also a nice space where partners can build white label or MSP approaches in order to predefine solution for their customers. So instead of going the tidy way, of building something in Python or R, thinking about how to make this into the production environment, all of this can be taken care by DataRobot, and you just focus on your domain expertise and knowledge and build applications that you can then basically run as white labels or MSP approaches for your customers. Here are a few examples from the insurance environment. And if you want to find more, you can always follow the pathfinder.datarobot.com URL, where you will find all these information. And here are just some examples of some of those insurance cases. Here are two examples out of the DACH regions. Here, a German insurance company that integrated DataRobot to do better dynamic pricing, churn, and competitor pricing analysis in order to drive the business quicker in real time. And it's part of check24.de website. So if you go in there, you will see that. And here, another case from a Swiss company where they also do dynamic pricing and marketing, increasing the competitor pricing and upselling and cross-selling, and basically also tuning the marketing team for better campaign management, and all this by using DataRobot modeling in the backend. And the good thing is not only the data scientists are building those models, but also actually the people from the business, like the analysts, which helps using the AutoML features and drive that much quicker. By that, I think I'm at the end of the quick pitch, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and feel free to reach out either to myself using that email link here, or to Stefan Schilling, which is my colleague from the commercial side, who would be more than happy to discuss your challenges you have within the insurance environment as a potential customer or as a partner building solution for customers. Hand over to you for the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you a lot. So yeah, actually we have a very good question here. They ask how adaptable is to real life data. Is there any data preparation which is still needed?
So basically, some of our customers and partners know us from early days, where basically DataRobot has been purely on AutoML and ML ops. We added about 2 years ago the functionality for data preparation. So this was by the acquisition of Paxada, and this is now fully integrated into the enterprise AI platform. So the full data preparation can be done directly within DataRobot. But we're also happy if you do that outside with other tools and just basically store the data sets within our catalog so that we can reuse it for AutoML.
Thank you a lot, Daniel. So this was DataRobot with Daniel. And dear audience, make sure to network and connect. Daniel will be hosting one of the next breakout sessions later. And with that being said, I will hand it over again to Max.
Thank you, Laura. So before we jump into the breakout sessions, we have the next startup up, who is also hosting one of the breakout sessions, Quantexa. And for Quantexa, we have Alex with us here on the line, who will tell us more about how Quantexa connects data at scale into true single views. So we can already see your screen, Alex. Please unmute yourself. The stage is yours.
Perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Fabulous. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Johnson. So I'm head of insurance solutions here at Quantexa. One of the problems which we see in the industry is that insurers are trying to make millions of decisions, both operationally and through analytical models, from data that's scattered around. It's sat in disparate systems, it's often incomplete, and it's often used within siloed organizational areas. That creates a really big problem for being able to understand transparency around decisions and being able to create customer centricity around how you treat customers across different portfolios. I guess to bring that to life, we call that the data decision gap. So what that means is you have all of these different teams accessing lots of different data sources in lots of different ways, often purchasing third-party data multiple times for different use cases, and typically having an incomplete view of the truth. So what we try and do is connect the dots between that. We try and say, actually, you're better off having all of your rich data assets within one place, having effectively an intelligent data universe where teams and decision makers and analytical models are accessing the same source of the truth, the same connected view of the data, to be able to create single customer views and be able to have true consistency around how you build your analytical models. So how do we do that? Well, effectively, we use a variety of techniques, but within data fusion, entity resolution, and network and graph analytics. What this helps you do is bring and pull together both your internal sources from disparate systems, that might be policy administration systems, that might be CRM systems, that might be billing systems, be able to pull that with external data like corporate records, credit bureau information, internal and external industry insights, be able to create a really single trusted view around people, organizations, customers, third parties, and suppliers through network analytics. So what are the core capabilities? Well, the first is in our data fusion and open integration. So we have no fixed data model. We don't pre-prescribe the way that your data should look. We recognize that every organization's data landscape is different. And so we have our own IP that can help fuse and integrate openly with all of your different data sources. That be whether it's in a mainframe server, that be whether it's in a Guidewire, Duck Creek policy administration type system, that be whether it's in a homegrown set of spreadsheets and databases that you have. We've never found a data source that we can't integrate with. What we then do is dynamic entity resolution. So typically, organizations have thought about entity resolution as data matching. I'm going to match record A to record B. We think about it saying, take all of your information around all of your customers, all of your contact details, all of the rich insights you can derive around locations, aliases, devices, and use that information to build a single view and a single customer picture across your entire portfolio. So that's taking external and internal sources and using entity resolution to create a single view. And doing that dynamically enables you to do that in real time and enables you to do that for different use cases. So an underwriter will have a different perspective of what a customer profile should look like and what data sources should be used for that than a claims handler or a fraud analyst, for example. A fraud analyst will happily have some fuzziness built in. They'll happily look for things like identity manipulation. They'll happily enrich with other sources that maybe the underwriter isn't comfortable enriching with. What we then do is use graph and contextual networks to be able to join the dots between all those different stakeholders. So people generally interact. People interact with other people. People live together. People use the same suppliers. People have interlinking information with regards to addresses, vehicles, location data. Being able to understand those hidden relationships helps you build a really true picture around actually who is this customer. It also helps you with corporate structures. Corporate structures are often complex. Being able to use a network to dissect that complexity is really powerful. We then have a really open framework, and this is all about self-sufficiency. So we plug in and feed into all of the main ML providers. We use all of the translation scripts you'd expect with PMML, Python, R, SAS. You can effectively have access to all of your data in a single hub and be able to write your own models, write your own predictive insights, and then explore that through our visualization tools. So what does that enable? Well, it ultimately enables you to make better decisions across the entire life cycle. This is all about empowering self-sufficiency, transparency, and access to a single source of your truth. And we've seen there's applications across the underwriting life cycle. We've seen there's applications in sales and sort of maximizing the customer cross-sell and upsell opportunities. We've seen there's opportunities in claims segmentation, claims processing, as well as fraud and financial crime. So the view of being able to get a single view of your customer, a single view of your third party, and then understand how they interact together in graphs and networks is very transferable across the entire enterprise. We've been able to help support Allianz, one of our large customers within Europe. They're operating out of a number of different entities, and we're being able to provide a single customer view across all of their claims data, all of their policy data, being able to enrich that with supplier billings data and help spot potential undue risk that may be occurring within their book. And we're also discussing with them around a number of extra opportunities around sort of contextual portfolio cleaning, as well as underwriting capabilities. So here are just some examples of the way that we've used that across the value chain. Why is that important? Well, what we pride ourselves in doing is doing this faster than any other capability out there. We've proven in independent tests that we can do this 60 times faster than other entity and network resolution platforms that are out there. We can do it more accurately. We've seen that 70% decision accuracy across your analytical models is driven through the fact that we can combine entity and network data together. And ultimately, that makes a lot more efficient and transparent decisions. The other thing I just want to talk about is the fact that through the data fusion model, we have, again, just reiterating the fact that we're schema agnostic means that you can bring in any data source which exists within your organization. That is the key to being able to provide true transparency and true trust around your analytical models to look at things like automation and decision intelligence. The other thing I want to say is that we can effectively deploy anywhere. We have an open framework to deploy in any of the main cloud provider platforms that you may use, but also on premise. So if you're still used to running your own tools, running your own deployments of software, we're very comfortable running both cloud, on-premise, and private hosting capability. And then the final thing I'd say is we've got a robust security model. So what that means is the right data gets in the right hands of the right people for the right decisions. What we can do with that is mean that you can have one platform and you don't have to deploy this many times for different use cases, but you can segregate and partition off the right data for the right use case. So from a pricing perspective, you may only use a subset of data to make that decision around the customer profile. Whereas for a fraud decision, you may use a much richer, wider set of data to be able to interpret whether there's fraud or not. We can help you do that with one single platform across the entire enterprise. What that helps do is fuse data together, connects those contextual views around customers, ultimately minimize the complexity around your data ecosystem, and improve decisions through richer insights, faster access to data, and ultimately providing more intelligent automation associated to your business. So we do think we're an unparalleled data platform that can empower and sort of revolutionize the decision-making within your business. Final slide I just wanted to leave on is the fact that we've grown quite rapidly over the last few years, which is really exciting. We've been recognized through a number of awards in the industry, both AI and data breakthrough awards, as well as being recognized as one of the fastest growing European data platforms that's out there. We work with governments, insurers, and banks, and what that allows us to do is have a unique insight into the different trends around data and analytics that you see within different industries, some moving faster, some moving slower, but being able to bring all of those insights into the platform and effectively use that to help support some of the leading organizations in the world globally. So that was what I wanted to land with. As I said, we are hosting a breakout session after this. Please do join. Really looking forward to diving into that in a bit more detail and answering any questions. But please do reach out either on the website or through the links on the startup page, or drop me a line direct through LinkedIn or email.
Thank you, Alex, for your pitch. We are a little bit over time, so no questions at this point, but feel free to always stop by the booth or send Alex a message right away. You can also find him now in one of the 2 breakout sessions. So the first room will be hosted by DataRobot. with DataRobot, which will tell us how to scale AI throughout your organization. And the second one will be hosted with Alex and Quantexa, where we will be discussing the role of contextual data and connected networks within insurance decision making. So how can we join?
As before, on the top of your screen in the navigation bar, you can click on the breakout session and then click join on the session you want to join. So also here, don't be shy. We love active participation. We love to understand what you think about it. And everyone that doesn't want to join the breakout session, well, they're missing out, but they can stay online and continue watching the scribbling that our Olivia is preparing. Olivia, we are curious to see your progress. For everyone who wants to join the breakout session, please go now and make sure to mute yourself. For those who prefer to stay here, we would like to invite Olivia to share her screen.
How do you actually find our virtual setup here today?
I think it's, yeah, pros and cons, you know, like I think it's nice here not to have to travel despite some startup did it anyway. But yeah, I miss somehow the human contact, having people around, really actually shaking hands.
Yeah, the networking is not the same, right?
Yeah, that really misses a bit the vibe, but I think it's still great. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the corporates and the startups to network and connect. So it's up on you, right? So if you don't take this opportunity seriously, then obviously the networking is not the same. But as you said, the people can stay at home. They don't need to travel in. They don't need to fly in, since we have many international startups. This is also sustainable. So yeah, I like a hybrid setup, maybe also for the future. Maybe this is something we can think of then going forward, right?
Perfect. Here we are again. Thank you, Max. Thank you. Here we are again on the main stage. Thank you all for joining the breakout session. And now let's jump right back to our general startup pitches with the next 4 great startups. Max, who is pitching next?
So next up, we have Sanjay with MoEngage, an omni-channel customer engagement platform for the mobile-first world. Don't forget, use the Q&A section, watch the startups in their booth, download the brochure, network with them, and connect. And now, Sanjay, please share your screen, and the stage is yours.
So thanks, everyone, for this opportunity. Very happy to be here. I represent MoEngage. MoEngage, we are an intelligent customer engagement platform. Our reason for existence is when banks and financial services are increasingly adopting digital as a primary medium where customers engage with their brands. They need solutions that help them do marketing that is much more nimble and also relevant to the customer's journey. So that's where MoEngage comes into the picture. We help marketers across the whole engagement life cycle, from helping brands understand customer behavior, creating very niche segments. For example, if you have a customer of yours that's actually bought life insurance from you, but is also looking for probably some supplemental products, could be a cancer cover or other products, right? So they've come to your website, they've logged into the portal, looked at a few products, not made a decision, and then gone away. How do you then go back to them with the similar product that they're looking for, rather than sending them generic information? So you're able to analyze individual customers' behavior, create very small segments of customers, and then based on those segments, think about which channels are they more likely to engage with based on what they've done in your history. It could be through simple things like email or SMS, or when they're back on your website, or it could be even push notifications on your website or your mobile app. It could be Facebook, anywhere else that they go and interact with your brand. You're there in front of them with the right message. And finally, the message itself, right? Because if you have seen a certain product, if you've seen car insurance, and in the past, having the same message or a same graphic there could also help them motivate and recollect that, okay, I had an interaction with this brand around this topic. So we help do all of that. And this is not a unique problem or a unique solution, but the way that we've seen our product being different is it just makes life easier for marketers. For example, one of our larger brands activates more than 120 campaigns every month, and they're always innovating. They're always adding more campaigns, taking out campaigns that don't work, and they're doing it with a very, very small team. That's where MoEngage comes into play. We bring ease of use when it comes to marketing automation and marketing to smaller niches of customers. We're 7 years old, but we're having a great run. We've worked with over 900 brands. Some of the leading banking and financial institutes across the globe are looking to MoEngage at any given point in time. I would say today, actively, we're probably talking to between 20 to 25 banking and insurance companies currently thinking about adopting MoEngage for their marketing automation and customer engagement needs. So it's a product that's young, but it's proven, and we seem to have a lot of traction, and we're always excited to have a discussion about what your needs are, what are you thinking about when it comes to customer engagement, and how we could help you with it. In 7 years, we've now recognized as a leader in our space. The last year's Magic Quadrant put us in the top right. So we're very happy to be placed there, and not just Gartner, right? I mean, everybody else, all the industry analysts have taken a look at MoEngage and think that we're a player to be reckoned with in the space. And across every marketing campaign or campaign type that you currently run, MoEngage can definitely play a role, from basic stuff like driving conversions for somebody who's actually come to your site visited, seen a certain product for 3 times and has not made a purchase, but our propensity algorithms say that he's most likely to buy that product. How do we drive conversions? What are the things that you could offer to them? So MoEngage can help you through the conversion of customers as they progress through their journey, helping you cross-sell and renew. Cross-sell could be, if somebody's bought a certain type of insurance, how do you actually promote something else that's natural for them to acquire rather than that's forced because there's a mandate to sell more home insurance, right? So MoEngage helps marketers build out those campaigns, help you achieve your campaign outcomes, but without being very intrusive or pushy towards a certain customer or all of your customers. We also help you automate a lot of your journeys. There are multiple steps that need to be taken through signing up for one of your products. MoEngage helps automate those journeys also. So, how do we do this? It's a simple flow. All of this could be set up on MoEngage, and from emails that are very targeted to certain sets of customers based on the interaction that they've had with your brand. You could either send out SMS messages or push notifications and wait and see every response that they make and take actions accordingly. We also, especially in the insurance and field, we've seen that a lot of customers would like to speak to a human being. So if we can set up journeys and connectors to your call center systems where if a customer does not engage with you on the digital world, maybe routing it to a human being and getting him to call could be the best method. So when we think about channels, we think about all digital, offline, and as well as human interaction channels that we power. So, how do we do it? As what we package in our application is a whole bunch of connectors that we have to your existing systems. We could bring data from any of your web or mobile app or other digital systems to your data lakes or any other partner products, CDPs and others that you have. Bring all of that to create this single view of customer when it pertains to marketing, and then power a whole range of analytical capabilities for you to understand customer behavior and where you should be focusing your marketing efforts. And finally, designing experiences and executing experiences across 10, 12 different channels. And all of this is powered by a huge amount of AI that we built that helps you find out which is the right channel to talk to a customer, what's the right time to talk to a customer, what's the right product to show to the customer. So all of this, there's a whole bunch of AI that we are building out and already have in market.
Hey, Sanjay, maybe just quickly, sorry to interrupt. We are already running out of time here. Thanks already for your pitch. I have one more question also from the audience. Maybe you can quickly answer on. So how do you make sure that the engagement is not invasive for the customers?
Yes. So, so few things, right? One is our AI systems take care of a lot of it. We can analyze customers who are getting a little annoyed with your messages, and so that you kind of scale back talking to them. Second thing is we can actually put a cap on the interactions that you have across all channels, the number of connections you can make with them in a certain period of time. So there are between AI and some rules that you can quickly configure. You can tone down your messages. That's the first piece. The second one is just being relevant, right? If I have shown intent to buy a product, showing that as interesting, versus a marketer thinking, oh, I need to sell, I need to drive leads for home insurance, so I'm going to target everybody that I have in my database. So walking away from that thinking to very targeted thinking is where MoEngage comes in the picture.
Really interesting, Sanjay. Thank you so much. Thanks for MoEngage. Don't forget to visit those guys in their booth.
Perfect. Thank you. Next up is Craig with My Voice AI. Craig, the floor is yours. Looking forward to hearing more about how My Voice AI unlocks the powers of human voice.
Great. Thank you. My name is Craig Vellis, and I'm on the founding team of My Voice AI. We are unlocking the power of the human voice. I was very fortunate to be on the founding team in 2017 with our co-founders, and it was on that understanding with the long-time dominance of radio and telephony, together with the emergence of digital assistants and smart speakers, that speech is actually the ultimate natural language interface. There, however, was a problem in that nobody knows who's on the other line. When you're talking on the phone, even with spoofed caller line identification, you can never be certain who is on the other line. And virtual assistants actually showed this even more in that I was able to control your phone just as easily as you are. Alexa would take orders from anybody in the house, and that is almost kind of one of the problems, or one of the focuses. We're focusing on the Google and Samsung and Alexa and all of them have brushed security under the carpet in favor of convenience to get adoption. It doesn't matter about security, it doesn't matter who's speaking. And we believe that's a blocker for enterprise or widespread adoption of real voice technology. So we've been focusing on who is speaking, okay, based on their unique vocal characteristics, okay, not on what is being said. Okay, we at the fundamental security layer, we don't care what is being said. That enables us to make existing and new conversations faster, more convenient, and more secure. And we've done this through machine learning and AI together with our leading speech scientists. And what we're able to do is we're able to verify or identify a speaker with as little as a few words or a few seconds of unrehearsed speech. And we do it in a language, dialect, and grammar independent, which means we can be adopted in a widespread, adopted globally. We can be adopted in multilingual environments and in environments which are not traditionally supported by the big guys in their automatic speech recognition, because we don't care about language. We care about the human voice. So you can enroll in French, and you can verify in any language, in Hebrew, in Japanese, in Thai, it doesn't really matter. What we do is, and so what we've done with that, we spent a lot of time getting that right. And it is the foundation for, we believe it should be the foundation of all voice systems, whether they're contact centers, whether they instructions in your automotive, or in fact, whether they're IoT devices. So we have implementations in all of those, in enterprise, in a centralized, perhaps on-premise or cloud-managed environment, in mobile or on edge. So enterprise is a focus around BFSI, banking, financial services, and insurance. So it's a centralized implementation. It's on-premise. It's about omnichannel. It's about contact centers. Perhaps even as we're seeing the emergence of enterprise virtual assistants, that they will be able to provide a secure voice bot that knows who they're talking to, so that can provide a context related and know about previous conversations. Insurance, which is the focus here, is an interesting one, because what we've learned through being part of this program is that the focus is around user journey, so that we can take it away from the first contact being, who are you, what do you want, by, hi, we know who you are, we know how to help you, we know your situation, we know, and we can really get onto that. So enterprise is a very big focus of ours, and there's a huge number of use cases that we've got around that. Other ones, where we do that, we have a My Voice portal, which gives you all of the details, gives you all of, shows you exactly what's going on with the system, how accurate it is, what the pass and fail rates are, all of that. And it'll also be where we can build additional voice services later. Okay, mobile, we have three focus areas. One obviously is mobile phones. The beauty about that is privacy, because the verification can be done on device and then a certificate issued. Mobility and automotive is obviously a massive thing. It's a massive growth area around, as our cars get smarter, as our cars get smart enough to be autonomous, we need to know who exactly is in there and who is authoritative, but also other services that have been released recently, as our ride sharing and car sharing and fleet management services. Other applications in the home is where we talk about mobility in the home, because you're freed up from a device, or your device is not a kind of a uni user device like a fridge or a smart speaker. So it's important to know who has authority to order a pizza and charge it, those types of things. And then obviously the edge is very, very exciting because we believe we're the only company that has succeeded in successfully getting our speaker verification technology down into a small enough yet accurate enough package that it can reside on the chip, within a microphone, or within a chip, right, an ultra low power device right at the edge for IoT, non-screen based, non-keyboard based interfaces. Along the way, our speech scientists have also learned a number of tricks, and that gets added on to. So once you...
Craig, are you still there? Can you hear us? Well, I guess the storm came by and interrupted his connection. So let's see whether he can join back. Otherwise, maybe we can get back to him later on with additional questions.
And you guys can for sure always meet him obviously also in the booth. But let's now first continue with Ian and the startup RavenPack, who is a big data analytics provider for financial services. So Ian, are you on the line and can you share your screen?
Yes, I'm on the line. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect, that's perfect, yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much as well for having me on today. My name is Ian McLaren and I'm from the product and sales team at RavenPack. So just to give you a very brief introduction for those of you who don't know who we are and what we do, we've actually been around for a long time, since 2003. So when it comes to the world of NLP and big data and sentiment analytics, we're kind of the grandfathers of this industry. And we've got a very broad customer base as well. We tend to be more on the financial market side. That's just where our business started out. So, originally we were targeting systematic hedge funds and investment banks, but that client space has diversified massively. And I'd say in the last sort of 3 years in particular, we're seeing a lot more sort of companies that aren't necessarily ones managing money and trying to invest it, but it could be any kind of company that are coming to us and trying to understand the news and quantify it for whatever their use case is. So you can see there under the customer base, it talks about like risk management. I mean, with everything that's gone on in the world in the last year and a half, that's obviously a big part of the conversation, as is ESG. It's a big trend. Everyone's trying to become more ESG compliant, and also to understand in the news, what's driving sentiment around those sort of things. How compliant am I? What is the perception of my company in terms of being ESG? Whether that's looking at the way you entreat your employees or the way you deal your business. Corporate compliance, business intelligence, and the list goes on. So as a company, we're pretty diverse and global. We have over 200 members now in the team. We have an office or offices in the US, in Europe. So I'm based in our office in the south of Spain. And we opened an office a couple of years ago in Asia as well to expand our client base over there. Now, probably the biggest solution that we're providing is we're helping companies deal with the growing volume of unstructured data. Okay, so unstructured data can be things like documents, emails, news, obviously, which is where our focus lies, but also social media, etc. And it's how they can, a lot of the time it's unused. So nobody's drawing insights from that because it's hard to process. So effectively what we do in terms of summarizing our solution is we'll turn this unstructured data for you into insights. Okay, and it also allows you to do that in a systematic way. So even if you don't necessarily have to have a team of quants and data scientists to kind of deal with this data, anyone can use it. We have different ways to interact with the data. And then you can use this hard to find data to improve workflows, whatever that might be for you. Okay, whether it's improving performance, understanding risks and dealing with them as they occur, or just trying to generally increase productivity. And the way we do that is firstly in terms of the content collection. So we have agreements with about 24,000 or over 24,000 news providers worldwide. So what we'll do is we'll take in all this unstructured news content and run that through our NLP engine. And we'll basically start a process of normalizing that text and then enriching it. And at a very high level, what I mean by that is we'll look for, first of all, we'll tag all the entities in the news. So we'll say, what are they talking about in this news article? Are they talking about companies, people, places, organizations? Are they talking about currencies, commodities, etc.? And then we'll further contextualize that. We'll say, all right, why are these entities appearing in the news? So we'll look for events. The NLP will understand the language around that and go, okay, why is this a company appearing in the news? Is it to do with an earnings announcement? Is it to do with some scandal with the CEO? Is it to do with regulatory investigation? Is it to do with labor issue? Whatever it might be. And then we'll also provide additional analytics and scores around that. So how relevant is the company in this article? How new or novel are these events? And many more. I mean, we provide up to, I think it's 51 different analytics around a single detection of an entity. And then we give you different ways to work with that data. So, if you're not a quant or a data scientist or a programmer, we have a self-service platform where you can just use drop-down lists to filter the data for whatever's important for you. And then in terms of how we deliver that, well, you can download, flat files, you can work with it in Excel if that's your preference, or you can pull it via API and use it in systems on your side if you like. So yeah, just to quickly summarize the services that we provide. So, we provide 100% machine readable data for those of you that are used to or want to consume large amounts of structured data. But if you're just looking at this as some sort of productivity tool, we make it very easy for you to search for topics that are interesting to you in your industry, right? You can set up alerts when things occur in the news. And then you can take this data that we provide and you can also say, all right, show me all of this in a more visual way on a dashboard. I want to see a heat map of all the main events driving sentiment. So, in the insurance industry, it could be like, okay, how are my competitors doing according to the way they've been written about in the news versus the way I am? Okay, and what are the main events that are driving that sentiment? And then you can share that amongst the organization. And I'll also just mention very briefly, we have a standalone version of our NLP engine, because a lot of our existing clients have been asking us, well, we've got all this documents internally, and we want to be able to structure that and analyze it. So you could run your own documents through our NLP engine, and we'll create the same structured analytics for you as well, if you want. Now, we're largely considered the gold standard when it comes to text analytics. And, we just talk about some of the main reasons why. I mean, we're kind of leaders in financial news in terms of breaking that down with natural language processing. Everything that we generate is point in time sensitive. We have a news archive going back over 20 years. If you want to look at the analytics going back over that period, or back test, or understand how trends have changed over time. We also provide a lot of proprietary research, and we can scale. Okay, we can scale the solution for you. I've already touched on some of the use cases, so I won't go into more detail, but I mean, it's not just for asset managers. I mean, you can also use it for corporate strategy, right? What has been talked about in the news in my industry? What are they saying on social media versus in the mainstream media? How should we understand the risks involved with different aspects of what's driving sentiment? Investor relations, manage your perception in the media. Look at what the news is reporting, which is bad, or if sentiment's trending down, and then counter that. So you can use RavenPack for those kind of insights as well. And then I'll just end off here. And, obviously, we have an internal data science team that writes research to help people understand and give them ideas and inspiration on how to use our data. But there's also, over 300 studies that have been done by external organizations as well. So again, because we've been around a long time, a lot of the big sell-side firms write research on our data and publish that. Also, a lot of the Ivy League universities, etc. So yeah, if anyone's interested in reaching out to me and reading some of that material, please get in touch.
Thanks, Ian. That was a great pitch, just right on time. So we have one question from the audience I wanted to ask you.
Yep.
How quick is the sentiment analysis? Can this support dynamic pricing of products?
So we produce these analytics in about 200 to 300 milliseconds, so less than the time you can blink your eye. So yeah, in terms of latency, that's where we can provide it in.
Perfect. That was quick and dirty, so very happy to have you here with us. Everybody else who's interested, just stop by the booth and get in touch.
Perfect. And before the last startup, since Craig was gone, but now he's back, Craig, can you briefly share your screen again, wrap up what you were saying, and we also have one question for you.
Sure. Great. Yes. So quickly, in terms of that, I'm not sure where you guys got to, but our current status is that We are going on the commercialization. We're focusing on BFSI in the Nordics, but we have offices in the UK, Norway, France, and Israel, and we're opening up on BFSI we have been focusing in Nordics, but we're opening up globally. We'd be very interested, and part of the process is we understand that people actually have to understand or really see it in action, because there is a kind of a disbelief. Is it possible for somebody to tell who's speaking just by hearing me? So we also have processes around POCs and proving and that type of thing. So we'd be very interested in people getting in contact with us directly.
Thank you very much, Craig. So one question coming from the audience was first complimenting you, saying that you have an amazing technology, and then they asked what makes your voice recognition so unique that it's so accurate and secure.
So it's the funny thing is a lot of the other, particularly the big guys, where they've got to around speaker verification, they've come down from masses of data. Okay, they've come kind of top down. We've got some of the best speech scientists in the world, and we've been focusing on the human voice and then bringing that together with neural networks. So where we beat the incumbent voice guys is we've got the latest academics and the experienced speech scientists working together, and that is what enables us to make it so accurate, so small. And that's for us one of the barriers to entry traditionally, is that it is expensive to implement. Now we've got it so that it's done quickly and that it can actually be done throughout the conversation. So it's completely seamless in that in a conversation, we can verify 10, 20 times who's speaking, okay? Which gives you that complete level of security or that complete level of assurance.
Thank you again, Craig. This was great, Craig with My Voice AI. And now for the cherry on top of the cake, I want to welcome Giro on our stage with Zelros, an all-in-one solution for insurance distribution and portfolio company of Plug and Play. Giro, can you please share your screen?
So thank you very much for having us as well. We're Zelros. We're focused specifically on the insurance industry and allow our customers to turn data into unique customer experiences. What we have seen in the market now is that the expectations of customers have changed drastically. And it really goes down to expecting more personalization, a greater willingness of purchasing insurance products online. And what is most striking is that ever since the pandemic started, the number of people who are willing to purchase insurance from big techs has increased by, I think, 300% to now 44%. And this is really what is driving the market in terms of customer expectations and how insurance companies need to adapt their business models. And for that reason, insurance distribution models are really under pressure. There's new players coming into the market, and they're providing exceptional customer experiences. As an example, Lemonade, the product is not different than from what other players are providing. However, their customer experience is exceptional in terms of signing up to policies as well as managing claims. Also on top of that, for distribution, regulation is becoming a bigger and bigger topic, not pushing products that customers might not be interested, but really focusing on what their requirements are. Also, what we see with our customers is that their IT is really under pressure on maintenance costs, as well as delivering cutting edge tools. And for me personally, the biggest point really is that nowadays distributors are owning the relationship with the customer, which also means they hold the key insight about that customer. And the majority of that data really is in the head of the salesperson. So what we really see is there's a growing gap between what customers expect and what classic insurance companies are providing today. So insurance is really product centric in terms of selling. Focus is on that, whereas customers expect their offers to be much more personalized. Traditionally, insurance sales has been rather reactive, waiting for customers to come in and requesting a product, where that expectation nowadays is that the recommendations need to come at the right time, and insurance companies really know what their customers need. And of course, the siloed channels versus the availability on every channel. So if you talk to an agent, that information is not transferred to the customer service, and what is on the customer service side is not transferred back to the agent, but that is really what customers expect. So as a result, there's a higher possibility of churn and lower sales than there could be. So how do you come over this gap? How do you bridge it? It's really about fulfilling customer expectations, and to do that, you need to have access to data. But once you have that access to data, you're going to realize that as data is growing exponentially, you also need some intelligence in order to help your salespeople and customer service employees to actually extract relevant information from that data. And this is the intelligence that you need. Otherwise, it's humanly impossible to analyze thousands of data points and pushing that back into your customer journey. And of course, the agility of providing that information becomes extremely relevant as well. And this is exactly what we provide at Zelros. We allow sales and digital marketing teams to use the right customer intelligence in order to create personalized experiences, providing them the right product through the right channel at the right time. So how do we do this? We incorporate all the different data sets that our customers have. We provide personalized advice on demand, adapted to each iteration of the customer. We also provide third-party data in order to enrich that profile and provide more meaningful insights. And of course, the core of that is the AI that brings the intelligence into that data. We're able to incorporate that, implement it rather swiftly in any environment that you might want to have this data, whether it's on the CRM side, the policy admin system, customer portals, or for your partners such as brokers. So let me quickly show you how this works in a demo scenario. So what you see here is a Salesforce, and of course within Salesforce, we can incorporate our solution as in any other CRM system or any other further recommendation. What you see on the right side is our solution, providing the salesperson the insights of what type of product that customer might be most interested in, based on what we call life moments, key insights that trigger certain requirements in terms of product, and provide then the most relevant sales argument for that specific customer profile in order to enhance the chances of actually closing this policy with that customer. We also allow to incorporate voice, so new insights. So if you're reaching out to a customer and he says, I have no interest in talking about vandalism risk right now, I need to go pick up my children from school. We analyze that spoken context, and we provide adjusted recommendations based on the insights that we generate from the information that we capture there. How can you engage with us? What we do is we start with a discovery session, one on business, of course, and one on IT, in order to ensure we can have a swift integration. We provide a fast track onboarding, always using our certified partners, and provide an easy adoption, really starting from beta tester versions to a full-blown rollout. And we provide a guarantee of return on investment within the first 3 months of adoption. And in order to scale our solution, we have our technology partners such as Microsoft or Salesforce, as well as our integration partners such as Capgemini and many others of those. And yeah, looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Giro. We have one question for you coming from the audience. They ask, how many sales do you enable per year?
How many salespeople, or how many? Well, we score about.
How many sales?
Last year we scored about 20 million profiles, and we analyzed or gave recommendations on 2 million customer profiles, and we tend to increase the number of offers put out by our insurance companies by around 20 to 50%, depending on the line of business. And on that, the conversion increases by 5 to 20%.
Thank you very much. Very impressive. This was Zelros, and thank you again. Just last reminder, you can always connect and get all the information you want directly from them.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody. So that was the final part of our today's startup pitches. Thanks, Gero, once again. And now to finish things off, we want you to participate in our People's Choice Award. So Laura, tell me more about this award and how our audience can participate.
Yes, thank you, Max. For the People's Choice Awards, we really need you, our audience, for voting the most exciting startup of today. To do so, please stay on the main stage and click on the left side of your screen on the Q&A and poll button. You can click there, you can click the open button, and you will find the names of all the startups who you saw pitching today. You can vote for your favorite one, to the one that's really stood to you the most. While everyone is voting their favorite startup, we will continue with the Corporate Innovation Awards. And for this, I will hand it over again to Max.
Thanks. So before we have the People's Choice Award, we will have the Corporate Innovation Award. And this is meant for the most innovative and most active partner of our program. We judge based on the startups, partners, and plug-and-play feedback. And I'm very excited, happy, and honored to announce Irish Life as our winner. So we actually wanted to have some confetti, but there are difficulties. So we are very honored to have Irish Life as a corporate partner with us. And the reasons for Irish Life winning is the fastest progress of pilot project development. The use case was extremely clear and well-defined. They were transparent with their startup engagements. And on top of that, they also always shared and updated us on their latest strategic goals, which helped us and the partnership to successfully develop. So let's quickly listen into some words from Chris and Irish Life.
I am delighted to accept this Corporate Innovation Award on behalf of Irish Life. We have had a long and fruitful relationship with Plug and Play, and they have introduced us to many startups over the years, and we have engaged in many successful projects with them. More widely, Plug and Play and our relationship with them has had a very positive impact on the innovation culture of Irish Life, and I would like to thank them for all their hard work and support over the years.
Thanks, Chris. And this is your guys' Corporate Innovation Award. We will send it over to you. And now back to my dearest colleague and the People's Choice Award.
Perfect. Thank you, Max. So going back to our People's Choice Award, I strongly hope that all of you voted for your favorite startup of today. I'm super excited to find out who won, actually.
Yeah.
So our winning startup, the one you preferred today, was Second Nature.
Woo!
Where is the trumpet? Also to Second Nature, congrats, you will receive this great, it was a great pitch. It's a great startup. We are really looking forward to seeing what's gonna come next for you. Xenia, anything you would like to add to this?
Congratulations to the award winners. Although we had a lot of wins and successes in this startup cohort, and I'm really proud to see all these pilot projects resulting out of Plug and Play's innovation programs.
It's always interesting to see how many overlaps insurance has with so many other industries. So thank you for showcasing them for us today.
Now tune in for the last but not least part of Munich Summer Summit, the future of brand and retail at 2 p.m.
So thanks, Xenia and the team. This was a really exciting day with lots of information for you guys. So let's jump back to Olivia for a second and check out the final results of the scribbling. Olivia, if you could quickly share your screen again, please. So also in the meantime, for our audience, just after scribbling, maybe you want to stay a little longer with us in the lounge bar networking. So go on the tab, enter the lounge bar, network and mingle with the startups.
We're gonna be there. Wow, that's great.
That looks really good,
looks
Olivia.
Amazing.
I can see.
We are also
us.
there.
Yeah.
You can see us also there. Thank you very much, Olivia. That's an amazing, and we're gonna hang it there.
And we will share it afterwards, obviously, also with our audience. So finishing things off, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who joined our Insurtech Summer Summit, especially to our trusted corporate partners.
To all the startups in our program and in our portfolio.
To the keynote speakers and VCs we had today here.
To our amazing program manager, Jess, who made everything possible here. And to all the people behind the scene that help us today, and to our plug and play ecosystem friends, and to all of you especially who are going through this innovation journey together with us.
So thank you again. Join us for the networking and tune in at 2 o'clock for our brands and retail team as well. See you. Bye.